Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. This morning I received an email from YouTube saying that one of my videos had been removed and that I had gotten a strike and I would not be able to post anything for 1 week. Now, why did I receive it? Well, apparently I violated the hate speech policy yet again. Now, I've been very, very careful with the things that I have said in all my videos. I learnt my lesson the last time, so I've read their policies back to front and I know all the things that I'm saying and why I'm saying it, even if it means that I repeat myself. Yes, some of the things I know I do repeat myself on, and there's particular reasons as to why I do repeat myself. I don't waffle on as what some people love to put in the comments, or you repeat yourself. And it's funny when I say, please give me examples of me actually waffling on. They always mention repeating yourself, which is not waffling on, I have you know. Waffling on is saying things that don't actually have any context or any relevance to what I'm talking about, the topic. But if I'm repeating myself about certain things that are actually relevant to the topic, that is crucial because what I am covering can be quite confusing. And because the content can be quite long and lengthy, and it can be quite detailed. So repeating yourself on occasion, like I do, is actually a good thing. No, it's not considered waffling on. There you go. So anyway, I appealed the decision and thank God I actually won because my content is not hateful. It's not intended to be hateful at all. It's not intended to be dehumanizing or to throw slurs at anybody. My content is there for educational purposes. It's there to speak the truth. It is there to showcase things that are going on in the world. And some of those things happen to be really, really insane. So there you have it. I thought I would get that out of the way because today's story, once again, is going to be another insane one because we have a particular person who claims to be a scholar of sorts in this ridiculous. I don't even like, for goodness me, like this particular subject you can actually take in university and you can claim to be a scholar of this particular subject. What am I talking about? Gender studies. That is a real thing, people. It's a real course in university that you can take. And you can be a professor, you can be a scholar of this subject. Good grief. Yes. So this particular famous scholar of gender studies has told women to stay home if they don't want to encounter a penis in female-only spaces, which angered and blew up on the internet for damn good reason. Because this particular person, who happens to be, quote, famous for this gender studies course, or being a scholar of that course, right? She literally slapped every single woman in the face by making that statement, saying you should just stay home. And she said it to a lesbian. How about that? An influential gender studies scholar is facing backlash, and so she should. She said the wrong thing for telling a lesbian activist to stay in her house if she has concerns about trans-identified males in female spaces. Let me just point this out, why a lot of people, women, I should say, were quite outraged by what this woman said. First of all, you happen to be a woman. Second of all, you are going against your own sex and saying that it's totally fine for men to enter into female-only spaces that women have fought really, really hard for and deserve to have. You're saying that it's totally fine for a man to take over that space, and if you feel uncomfortable by a male appendage being in that bathroom that you don't actually want to see, you should just stay home. There's no point in going out. If you can't accept seeing a male appendage when you're out and about and you don't want to see it, just stay home. At an event in San Francisco, California on Thursday, Judith Butler told Amanda Covanta that the penis is not a dangerous instrument. Well, There's so much I could say about that statement that I would probably get banned for saying, believe it or not. But let me just be clear on this, right? Not every male penis is a dangerous instrument, okay? There have been men out there that have thought with this thing, and they have been led to do some very dangerous things towards the likes of real women, okay? It's not the fault of the male appendage, but it is the person that has thought with the hormones that the male appendage creates, and they act upon it, okay? So she's not wrong in what she's saying there. But in saying that, it can make a lot of women feel very, very uncomfortable when they're in a private space for themselves. It's called privacy for a reason, Judith. When you're in a private space, I can't believe I'm having to explain this, but when you're in a private space, you don't want to be disturbed by a male appendage. I get that, and I'm a male, okay? Same goes for me. If I'm in the toilet and a random woman walks into the bathroom, I don't particularly want to have to deal with her either, right? It goes without saying, when you're doing your business, you want some privacy. That's just a decent human thing. I think she's forgotten that. After she was asked why lesbians can't have a dick-free space. Well, if you're a lesbian, you don't like penises. So just goes without saying, I guess. According to the Daily Mail, Butler, who believes gender is a social construct, of course she does, because she's an influential gender studies scholar, people, was questioned by Kavatan at a lecture hosted at the Sydney Goldstein Theatre. Butler had been invited to speak on her philosophies and promote her latest book, Who's Afraid of Gender? What a title for a book. I mean, you can't say anything. We're not afraid of biological sex or actual gender, although this woman probably believes that the 70-something genders out there, and they're constantly adding more and more as the days go on, right? So who's afraid of it? I don't believe anyone's really afraid of it. We're just sick and tired of it being shoved in our faces, and we're sick and tired of men who identify as being something else. We're sick and tired of them going into female-only spaces and taking over female-only spaces. So no one's actually afraid of it if you look at it. But if you want to go in the broader context of things and say, oh, you know what? I'm totally afraid and I'm totally scared of the fact that if we continue to allow this stuff to go on and we continue to remove women from having their own spaces, then we could end up in a very, very dangerous position in society. So this book discusses the attacks on gender that have become central to right-wing movements in recent years. Yes, because it's apparently the right-wing movements that believe in reason, rationale, science, and sanity that we're the problem for believing in all that. So we're the ones that are apparently attacking gender, which we're not. We're just pointing out significant issues and flaws in their so-called argument that they're trying to present to us. Gender is not a fluid spectrum thing, although people try and argue that gender is different from biological sex, and they just try and remove. Look, gender was made up to say whether or not you're male or female. It's like, okay, they've taken that and they've expanded on it because they couldn't expand on biological sex because it's got biology in the front. So therefore, they've gone, let's create something else that doesn't revolve around biology so we don't get in too much trouble. Interesting, isn't it? If gender is to liberate us, why can't I, as a lesbian, have a dick-free space? A space that is for women only, without penises. I think that is a good question to ask, isn't it? Not just because you're a lesbian, but all women should have a penis-free space to feel safe, shouldn't they? Kavatana asked Butler, a space that is for women only without penises. So here is the tweet from Women Are Real. I love it. They are very real, and I love women. Pausing for several seconds, Butler, who began identifying as non-binary in 2020, responded, I think you can do that in your home. Waiting for the applause to stop, Butler continued. So she got a standing ovation, or not a standing ovation, but a significant round of applause for pausing for a couple of seconds and then saying, I think you can do that in your home. How is that worthy of an applause? I don't know. Butler continued, I hope and trust that you don't have a son with a penis. I think you are free to say that. You are free to say it here, and you are free to say it out loud. Okay. Continuing, she said, I do wonder, maybe you wonder, about what is the danger of the penis, adding that the penis is not a dangerous instrument. She completely missed it. She completely misses it. Like, there's such a thing as privacy. Yet again, there I go repeating myself. I wonder why. While she acknowledged the reality of rape, Butler, a self-proclaimed feminist, interesting how a self-proclaimed feminist is actually going against her own biological sex and really what feminists do believe. So maybe you're a third wave feminist that doesn't actually want to protect the likes of real women. Maybe. Went on to state that she doesn't reduce people to their anatomical parts. Butler's statement sparked immense pushback on Twitter from many who were appalled by her attempts to minimize the dangers of allowing males into female-only spaces. Yes, you know what happens when we put males in female-only prisons? Do I need to share more? I think you guys can use your imaginations as to what happens. Well, you don't really need to use your imaginations. You guys already know. Kind of blown away by how stupid Judith Butler is. I mean, clearly she's a hack. She evangelizes, mashes all the right buzzwords together to say absolutely nothing. Yes, I like trying to make sense of what she said up top. It's just way over my head, way over my pay grade, I believe. And the brain dead audience claps like a colony of seals. Wrote journalist Ben Appel. I actually agree with you, mate. Well done for saying all that stuff, because it makes a lot of sense. Judith Butler is basically shaming female prisoners who want men to be housed in men's prisons, lest they be raped in those men's prisons. Don't be so selfish, ladies. Surely you can take a assault so he doesn't have to, added gender critical activist Megan Murphy. According to many gender critical activists, Judith Butler's theories have played a key role in disrupting women's rights, with many accusing her 1990 book, Gender Trouble, of paving the way for the inclusion of trans-identified males in female spaces. There you have it, man. We're going to have everything inclusive. According to Judith Butler, we're going to allow men into female-only spaces. That's totally fine. Let's make it happen. Speaking with The Guardian in 2021, 31 years after the book's release, Butler explained that the category of woman can and does change. So what does that make you, Judith? Well, I hate to break it to you, but the word and woman is not a category. Woman is a biological sex. You're either male or female. Woman is obviously a term used to say you're an adult human female. It's not a category. It's a biological sex. Like, can't get with the times. No, I've got to be fluid. Come on, Jay, be fluid with me, according to Judith. Continuing, she expressed that the only way to secure more liberties for women is to rethink the category of women to include those new possibilities, and that women should not oppose expanding the category of women to include trans women. Yes, because according to Judith Butler, trans women are women. Can anyone see the dangers in that? So we should not be surprised or oppressed when the category of women expands to include trans women. There you go. And since we are also in the business of imagining alternative futures of masculinity, we should be prepared and even joyous to see what trans men are doing with the category of men. Yeah, what are they doing with the category of men, I wonder? What are they doing with masculinity? There's nothing like a woman that decides to identify as being a man to show us all what true masculinity is by having a baby. Yes, nothing. Oh boy, we should not be surprised. As men, we should not be shocked because we've got to have a real woman, guys, believe it or not, tell us real men what true masculinity is. And obviously, men have got to teach women what true femininity is if you want to identify as that. That is essentially Judith Butler's entire argument in that. You should not be scared. You should embrace it. Embrace 2024. Embrace all of the weird and the wild and the crazy people. Let's forget about biology. Let's forget about science. Let's forget about reason and rationale. Let's all forget about that. And let's just all embrace the insane idea that women can teach men about masculinity, about true masculinity, and men can teach women all about true femininity. I never thought that I would see the day, but alas, here I am. Apparently it was going on since 1990 before I was born. Wow. Now her thoughts and beliefs are heavily considered more popular nowadays. And gee, I wonder why that is. Seems to be like this new resurgence. Anyway, my friends, you guys take care. You be blessed, and I'll see you all in the next video.